Our top story this week: Pakistan's top civilian and military leadership rattled by a string of deadly insurgency attacks in the country's Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa provinces in a huddle on Tuesday. The two regions on the boil have been a millstone for Pakistan for decades. Has Islamabad lost control? Here's more.
March 16, Noshki, Balochistan. A bomb explodes near a bus carrying security forces. 11 were killed, 22 injured. This one came hours after an IED blast in Quetta, also in Balochistan. 1 anti-terror force personnel was killed, 6 were injured. Local sources say there were 19 big and small attacks on Pak security forces in Balochistan within 48 hours of the train hijacking last week. The offensive by the insurgent Baloch Liberation Army and other smaller outfits in the region hits dizzying extremes. Again. Step back to two of Pakistan's most volatile regions, Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, perpetually on the boil for most, if not all, of independent Pakistan's history. Balochistan, Pakistan's largest province by area, accounts for about 44% of its total land. In population terms, though, it's home to just 6% of Pakistan's people. The Balochis, with a distinct linguistic, cultural and tribal identity, have long hit out at control from Islamabad. At the core of uprisings and the insurgency against the Pak government down decades have been long-standing grievances over economic deprivation, political exclusion and military repression. Activist groups, rebels, insurgents from Balochistan down the decades have accused Pakistan of enforced disappearances and extrajudicial killings, brutally suppressing freedom of speech, exploiting their natural resources, religious and ethnic persecution, targeting their students, and more. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor has been a subject of huge anger. There are repeated signals that the pot has boiled over. The insurgency in Balochistan has risen repeatedly in the 1950s, 1970s and the early 2000s. Intensity and frequency has peaked after 2021. February has seen a peak in attacks and deaths not seen since the 1970s.
With rising attacks in Balochistan, there have been renewed calls to launch a security operation. While Islamabad has been cautious in making such a move, given the dynamics, it also remains to be seen as to what its next move will be.
Shift focus to another Pakistani province perpetually on the boil. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa's geographical proximity to Afghanistan and its socio-political complexities have bred unrest. Together with Balochistan, KPK makes it 56% of Pakistan in the grip of mayhem. Here in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, it's the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, TTP, that's got knives out against the Pakistan government. And here too, attacks are frequent and strong. These are visuals of a funeral in KPK after an attack in Nowshera in February. The Darul Uloom Haqqaniya Seminary was targeted. A senior cleric was among the 6 killed. Tempers and tensions run high against a spate of such attacks. Over 150 attacks have been recorded in the first 2 months of 2025 alone. The Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan TTP, also known as the Pakistani Taliban, has been waging an insurgency against the Pakistani state. Their grievances are rooted in decades of ideological, political and military conflict. The TTP claims that Pakistan's military offensives in the former federally administered tribal areas FATA and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa have displaced civilians and killed their fighters. The group says the Pashtun population has been marginalized and unfairly targeted in counter-terrorism operations. It rejects Pakistan's existing legal system and demands a governance model similar to the Afghan Taliban rule. Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa have turned into two massive millstones around Pakistan's neck. Decades of a combination of abuse and misuse, repeatedly brushed aside, has grown into a monster Islamabad is finding increasingly difficult to handle.
Two provinces, the province of Balochistan and the province of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, both which border with Afghanistan, are at the forefront of battling with the menace of terrorism. They're the ones causing troubles for the Pakistani state at large, and reading them in will decide the future course for the country. Anas Malik in Quetta, in Pakistan's Balochistan, for Inside South Asia, only on WION World is One.